Hey everybody, welcome back to the Frugal Filmmaker Q&A. That's the show where you send me a question and I do my best to answer it. If you'd like your question read on the show, please send me an email to frugalfilmmaker@gmail.com. That's your best chance of having your question read on the show. You can also leave a comment below or send me a message on Twitter @frugalfilmmaker. Now, I didn't really have a video last week, you may have noticed, but I didn't want to just leave nothing there on my channel because I always feel horrendously guilty about not getting my weekly video done. But as you may or may not know, I'm in the process of moving right now, and so it's taking up all my time. You can probably tell by looking at the set behind me that it's sort of depleted because I'm packing everything, and this is the last time you're going to see this set on this show. Sadly, it's kind of served me well, I thought, but we're on to bigger and better things, hopefully, and so we're moving out. So instead of posting a video, I posted sort of a riff on what YouTube does when a video is deleted or taken down. It gives you that little screen. So if you read the text on that fake YouTube screen and then read the description below, hopefully you kind of got the joke. Some people did, some people didn't like it. I got a few more dislikes than I normally get, but you know, that's the way it goes sometimes. Okay, our first question comes from email, and it's from Matt Haslam, who says, I was wondering if you had any suggestions or any suggested reading materials on how to find the native ISO and chroma subsampling of our cameras to ensure that the footage can be used for broadcast someday. There's a few websites I would go to to help you find what your native ISO is for that specific camera. I mean, of course, you can try and do homework and read reviews, and I think Matt said he did that. But I would recommend some sites like EOSHD is a good one, Cinema 5D, DP Review, I believe, is another good one. All those websites will have detailed information about specifically the Canon cameras, so those cameras will have been reviewed. So in detail, in like excruciating detail. So you should be able to find that information there. If not, then maybe somebody can chime in about the T5i if they know any information about it. But those three websites are really good for a variety of things, not just specific camera information, but for reviews and all kinds of things going on with the camera world right now. I highly recommend those sites if you haven't been to them already. Our next email comes from Michael Burke, who sent me a very long email, but this is the gist of it. He says, I'm a classical pianist and have been recently taking videos of my music making much more seriously. What kind of lighting setup would you use? I understand the principles of three-point lighting, but I'm not sure how to apply it to the large subject of a grand piano and me. Will 3 lights be enough, or do I really need more? Michael sent me a video example of what he's doing. It's him at the piano with several cameras set up from different angles, and while he plays, he cuts between the cameras or dissolves between the cameras to kind of give a little performance piece. Now, as far as how I would light it, he actually sent me all these suggestions of different kinds of lights that he could get from different companies and asked me which ones were the best ones to get. And this is really kind of tough for me because I'm not a professional gaffer. I'm an amateur gaffer. I've been gaffer on several amateur film sets before, but never professionally, so I'm no expert, definitely. However, the first thing I thought of was to perhaps look at other videos that have lighting that you like and then sort of deconstruct them. You can look at other videos and see, where's the light hitting that person's face, or the piano, for example. 3 lights on a large subject like a grand piano, and the piano player or the pianist itself is probably going to be pretty minimal and much more dramatic because you're not going to be able to kind of splash light all over the place. You're going to have to be more selective, I think. But lighting, as you know, is an art form, and it's not just something you can just do automatically. You have to practice. The video that you sent me, Michael, showed area lighting, which is where everything is kind of lit. But if you want something more specific or more targeted, I mean, the Fresnels are a good example of totally controlled lighting. You've got spot and flood control, you've got barn doors to control the lighting, and the barn doors you can clip diffusion on, and color gels, and all kinds of things. Of course, this takes lots and lots of practice. If you want a really excellent video, you might want to think about hooking up with somebody who is a gaffer or who wants to be, so that they could practice on you and your set, on your location. I would have to be there on set kind of looking at the situation and set the lights up and know exactly where to place them. I am a big fan of LED lights because of the color temperature. I mean, you can also use CFLs. I would recommend hooking up with someone who can physically come to the location and maybe direct your lighting that way. You might even maybe spend a little bit of money to get them to come in, maybe on a consulting basis. So while you don't have them on set per se, or you're paying them top dollar, maybe they can just give you some good suggestions. 3-point lighting, of course, is always good, but if you're just one person sitting there, you might just want to play and set up lights and point them in certain directions. Maybe have a stand-in that you could work with that might help you as well. I mean, it's a really open-ended thing because you are doing this all by yourself, and that can be really challenging. So try different things and see what works. Again, bring somebody in if you can. If you can't, then, well, good luck. Our next question comes from last week's Q&A from YouTuber Brendan's Fabulous World of Fishing, who asks, what laptop do you use for video editing? I currently use a Dell Inspiron 7537. It's got an Intel i7 processor, 8 gigabytes of RAM, 1 terabyte hard drive, non-SSD hard drive, and that's what I've been using for the last year and a half. And if you're just wondering about my feelings about that specific laptop, they're kind of mixed, because actually right now it's running pretty good. But boy, when I got it, I was working on my thesis film in grad school, and I had a catastrophic failure. The motherboard failed, and it fortunately didn't take all my work with it. I actually was working on my previous older laptop, so I could kind of port all the data over there and work on it there, but it was much slower. So I had to wait for 2 to 3 weeks to get it back. And once I got it back, it's actually been a pretty good performer. I'm a bigger fan, I think, of the Sony Vaio line. That's what I had before. Really liked the keyboard on that computer, and it was just a really excellent machine. It just kind of fell apart physically. Although I did replace the hard drive with an SSD drive, and that was much better, and I think I'm going to do that with this computer, replace the 1 terabyte hard drive with a 1 terabyte SSD drive. Our next comment comes from the Itsy Bitsy Slider video. This is from YouTuber Frankie, who says, question on tapping and drilling holes. Why drill 13/64-inch hole? Does this help to make the 1/4 inch tap? I love learning new skills, but I don't want to mess this up. Well, the size of the hole I got from a chart that I found on a website called Bolt Depot. They sell all kinds of hardware and things. They had a nice drilling and tapping chart. It just tells you what size hole to drill for the tap you're going to put into it. And the hole is going to be a little bit smaller than the size that you're going to tap. Obviously, you're not going to try and tap a 1/4 inch hole with a 1/4 inch tap, because the hole is going to be too big for the tap. So you drill something that's a little smaller, and then you tap that size out, and it cuts through the metal and gives you the threads. I would not have guessed to use 13/64-inch hole, but that's what the chart said, so that's what I did. I trusted Bolt Depot, and it seemed to work out for me. Finally, I had a private message on YouTube from Mike Hedden, who says, does the music supplied on your editing software allow you to use it in public for intro and outro on your vids? YouTube tells me it's a third-party match when I use some of the music supplied. I've noticed people saying this before also when using music from sites like Audioblock, which is something that I reviewed and liked a while ago, that when they would use the Audioblock music and then upload it to YouTube, they would have a conflict or it'd be flagged by YouTube. And actually, if you go to the Audioblock website, it kind of gives a solution for this. This is actually YouTube either mistakenly flagging the music, or the music is copyrighted from other sources before they had bought it, and so there was a conflict there. But they give you a process with which to sort it out with YouTube. I don't know if the situation is going to be the same with you. I would consult the website of your editor, or maybe go to customer service and ask them. Personally, I ran into this problem before when I used a selection on one of my older videos, which was my original Crane video. I used a selection from Vivaldi's The Four Seasons. I thought, hey, this is old classical, it's public domain. But the fact is, it's still copyrighted by those who recorded that music. And obviously when I uploaded it, it got flagged, and I've never been able to monetize that video because of that music selection, because I should have just taken it down immediately and put in some other music and then uploaded it, and it would have been fine. But I didn't, kind of as a lesson to myself, because every time I see that video and I see $0 next to it, it's because I've got copyrighted music and I can't monetize it. So just avoid copyrighted stuff altogether. If that music is being flagged when you upload it, get rid of it. Avoid it. Don't use copyrighted stuff that's going to cause problems, because you'll get flagged over and over until they'll eventually take your channel down. I've had that experience too. Okay, that's all the questions we have this week. Remember, if you like your question read on the show, please send me an email to frugalfilmmaker@gmail.com, or you can comment below, or you can send me a message on Twitter @frugalfilmmaker. Again, I'm going to be on the road this week, so it'll be interesting to see what happens this Thursday or Friday when I'm supposed to upload something, because I'll probably be driving cross country. At any rate, I'll do my best to get that video up, and then of course we'll have another Q&A on Monday, which isn't impacted by where I am at any time, because these shows basically write themselves. Anyway, thanks for watching. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.